Hey everyone, today I want to talk about how to perfectly blend performance with brand marketing. And today we're talking about local service businesses. Now, brand is kind of a dirty word, not just in marketing in general, but specifically I find for local owners, retail, installation companies like we're about to go over, anything like that. They've been told by so many agencies and freelance marketers because quite frankly the better marketers and the ones that really understand brand don't usually work with companies like these. So the marketers that companies like these typically work with, when they hear brands, they immediately think, oh, so I'm not going to get any money. Oh, it's just for awareness and reach. These companies can survive without doing a lot of brand marketing, true brand marketing, which I'm going to get to in a second. Is that they have very high ROI. They get a lot of like just one-time customers because that's just like the nature of their business. A lot of these services last for 5, 10, maybe even 20 plus years. So you're not really needing to repeat purchase over and over and over again. Um, and because of the high ROI, there is there's just so much room to get people with offers. You don't need a very strong brand necessarily to make money. And I think that's the key word here. To make money, you do not need to do this. But if you want to grow to a multi-million-dollar local service company, if you want to dominate your market, injecting a real brand strategy by people who have done it for multi-million-dollar product companies, service companies, and all that kind of stuff can make an insane difference. And instead of just being one of the many local service companies in your city, state, whichever it may be, you will be the go-to installation home service company in your state. You will be the first one people think about when they are having an issue with their house instead of going to Google and basically just price shopping between everyone. So without further ado, let me get into it and show you exactly what I am talking about. And before I start, I should say, brand is supposed to make you money. It is supposed to make sales easier than ever, and it is supposed to give you more leads than you ever thought possible. If it is not doing that, it is not an effective brand strategy. So get that idea out of your head that brand is, just a waste of money, or it's for reach and impressions, or they're only for very large companies. You can do it for any type of company, and when you do it right, the impact is monumental. So right now, this is a website that I just looked up these websites, installation companies in Denver. I'm based in Denver, Colorado. The company that I'm going to show you last is the rebrand we did, and they have seen a 300% increase in conversions, and they were already profitable and making tons of money before. But like I said, when you blend brand with performance marketing perfectly, it has just insane effects for your conversion rates, dollars, everything like that. Everything that you want to be doing. And it makes your life so much easier. So who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want their life to be so much easier while also making so much more money? So you see this website. This is a performance website that I would say, or just a standard local service website. 98% of websites, maybe even more, maybe 99% of websites tend to be like this. You have, a heat map so that you can see what parts of the house are hot or cold, and like where insulation can be improved to make it more even. So you're not, just having energy coming out of your house and losing money and all those kinds of things. But you look at this, and if I took this logo away, this could be any other home insulation website. We scroll down, solar energy, home energy audits, home insulation. Okay, energy audits, solar energy, and home insulation. Whether you want to live in a better home, improve your energy efficiency, or qualify for incentives. Is it approved contractor for Excel Energy? Literally 9 out of 10 websites say this. The company that I'm going to show you last had everything like this on their website too. And that's the problem with doing this is, again, just like basic information about how it works. There's no character. There's nothing about the company specifically. This is all just basic fundamental information about installing insulation, installing solar energy, and everything that you could find by just typing into ChatGPT, quite frankly. There is no creativity with this. And then we have a form. And it's asking, will solar save you money with a calculator? And then, this is not a bad thing to have because this is, going over a little bit of the company. I'm assuming that this is going to have like some reviews in it. I'm not going to just play this right now. That's, at least a little bit better. They go about their people, but let me show you the next website to really show you what I'm talking about. First off, they have this one's actually a little bit better, but they have this, don't miss out, offer ends in 130 days thing. See if I there's just so much about this makes it seem not like a scam, but it makes it seem like they're just trying to sell to you. And I mean, I'm not saying that shouldn't be the point. Like I said, brand should drive you revenue, drive you more leads. If it's not doing that, it's not a good brand strategy. But this is just very, very gamey, very inauthentic. Like, is the offer actually expiring in that many days? And even if it is a true offer expiring in that many days, which I don't believe it is, I believe this is just a clever way for them to get your email address and get a quote to get you into their plan, because surprise, surprise, my client also has this $1,200 offer without this, weird offer ending timer. But all of that aside, this is not driving urgency. By having 129 days out for an offer, people say that timers increase conversion rates and things like that. Yeah, when you have like a 15-minute timer, or when you have like a 24-hour timer, or like a 3-day timer for Black Friday or something like that. But having a 129-day timer, that legitimately isn't doing anything. And if they have higher conversion rates on this pop-up since adding that in, I'm assuming they are not A/B testing very well, or their other offer or pop-up before this was really, really bad. But moving on from this, we'll exit out of that. Go up to here. Like I said, this one's a little bit better because they have the koala installation, and they're have a little bit more of a character. But is that koala element any more than their logo? Okay, make your Denver North home more comfortable while reducing energy expenses with proper installation. This image looks exactly like the image that I just showed you on the other website. This paragraph looks like exactly like a paragraph I showed you on the other website. Your home for quality installation. Should this be an image? I don't know what's going on there. Our qualified installation contractors streamline the installation experience for Denver North homeowners. After your no-cost home efficiency review, will supply a detailed assessment of your property's energy landscape. Blah, 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 blah. Sounds like every other installation website that anyone's ever been on. Again, if you took away the logo, you would think this is any other insulation website. This pamphlet looks pretty creative. And I do see this a lot where their sales team has things that actually are more creative, but why aren't you putting that anywhere on the website? Yeah, you have a nice video of it here, and I'm, again, not going to play the video, but you should be weaving in this element into your entire website instead of just having this very standard information. And to top it all off, there is just a very annoying form constantly here on the right side because they can't miss the opportunity for you to give them your email address. The thing that I always tell people is people are willing to read, people are willing to go through, click on a button that says free quote to get to a form without it being in front of their face every second of the time that they're looking through your information. Because what does this form do? What does this giant pop-up banner do? What does that pop-up I just showed you a minute ago do? It distracts you from the information. And any salesperson will tell you, if that customer comes to you, not just price shopping for a quote, but actually is bought into your brand and service before you say a word to them, it is significantly easier to sell them on the services. So this is really just built to get the information to their team as fast as possible. But it's very just busy. It's very hard to read. And again, there's nothing very creative or character, I think is a better way of saying it, brand-wise for this website. So let's go to another website. This one, again, very basic, has a truck, has a contact form immediately, has something popping up saying, hey, have any questions, text us here. That's immediately popping up. This should have like some kind of time delay on it. Huge red contact us button. Like, this is all just about them, not about the customer. They're like, please give us your information as soon as possible. Convert as quickly as possible. I don't care if you read any of the other information. I just want to get you right now. And the reason why they have to do that is because the brand of the company is so unmemorable. I will leave this website and it will be impossible for me to remember that this was the exact company that I went to. And then so maybe I'm not ready to leave my information, or maybe I do leave my information, but then I go off and do something else and don't get a quote to the next day or the day after. And let's say I've been price shopping and I get an email, I'm going to go for the lowest price because I don't remember the brand. And beyond not remembering the brand, why does it matter? Is there anything different, again, about this website than the last one? Our family-owned business, I guess that's slightly different. None of the other ones really said family-owned. In-home services, electricity, plumbing, air conditioning, heating in Denver, whether it's heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical, we have you covered. We do it right the first time, so why wait? Home services, large blurb. And again, this is just talking about basic HVAC system information. Very professional photo. And again, I don't want to seem like I'm ragging on these guys too much, because this is working. They are making money. But if you want to do more than make money, you want to make your job, again, easier and get to millions of dollars of revenue, you have to do things a little bit differently. And this industry has so much opportunity to do things differently because nobody is doing it. And so we scroll down, another truck photo. Oh, another truck photo. That reminds me of something else I saw before. Substantial energy savings, unmatched comfort, pristine indoor air quality. Again, saying everything the same that all the other websites are saying. And, maybe it's a little bit tweaked. I'm not, saying it's copy and pasted from everyone, but it's just, again, information that I could type, question the ChatGPT, and it will spit all this out back to me more or less exactly like this. And, at this point, I don't even remember what was at the top of the website. Because, again, it's all just about calling. And now it's carriers. Is it a carrier website? I'm being a little funny with that question, a little rhetorical, because I, just from looking at the website a little bit, carrier is a partner of theirs. But my main point being that carrier's brand is actually more front and center than the Steel Tea Company's brand, which again is just very basic information. Now they have great reviews, they do great service, and all that stuff is good. And honestly, this review wall is somewhat impressive because I don't see that done all the time coming directly from Google like this. But again, nothing super creative, no character. Once I leave this website and I get 5 different quotes, there's nothing that's going to make me stick with this specific company. A lot of home service companies have great reviews because they do fantastic work. But that's why the opportunity to add that brand element in is so important to making you stand out, because there are so many companies that do great work. So now let me go to the website that we did, the rebrand that we did for another installation company. And their website before looked very much like all of these. Had bullet point lists about what our process is, the importance of installation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Listed all the awards, excuse me. Had a review wall, had some pictures of their company. But we decided to add a character to the brand. And not just add a little cute koala, even though that is a nice touch. It's better than what a lot of other people are doing. We ingrained everything about the characters and brand into all of the performance content. So pretty much instantly, you can tell that this website is just designed with more thought and a little bit higher premium quality. The web team that we use for this website, for all of our websites, is used to working with more with larger brands, where brand is a lot more important, a lot more relevant. It just is more of a necessary thing instead of a thing that separates you, like it will in the home service installation sector. Now, I know I'm sure a couple of people are going to be like, well, that's so busy, that background. That's distracting in itself. And the difference is that although it might be distracting, there's a lot of psychology behind why we have something moving there. I'm not going to get completely into it right now, but the basic thing is when you have motion on the page, it encourages people to stay there more and be more engaged. And it's in the background, so it's not nearly as distracting as a pop-up. And there's very few things about get offer, get offer, get offer. Yeah, I have get free quote. We have to have that. Yeah, we have get quote over here in the top right. We have to have that. Yeah, we have some of our offers up here kind of scrolling. I'm not saying it's completely absent of it. But we have this nice phrase, keeping you cool when it's hot and toasty when it's not. Year-round comfort you can count on. 5-star rated installation services in Texas. Instead of just saying a basic, we do installation, you should work with us, we're framing it in a more creative, what I would consider a more down-to-earth way instead of just a purely informational way like I'm reading, a lawyer contract or something like that. What I always tell people, good marketing, what it does is it makes your information entertaining and engaging to read. It's not all about sharing memes, but if you make your writing easier to understand just purely because it's more entertaining and more engaging, that gets people to understand better. And that's all we're trying to do is understand it better, remember it better, and think, hey, even though I got all these emails about quotes, I want to go with this brand because I remember there was something uniquely different about it. And so we do have reviews here as well. That's also very important. We have the classic award or badge wall that I would suggest doing for everyone on their homepage. Then we have another line. We're not just blowing insulation. We're improving the comfort of your home. It's not just about giving us your information. It's not just about purely saving money, and we will get to that. We do weave that into everywhere as well, but we're making it more of a story now. Summer in Texas, woo, it'll cook an egg on your driveway and have you flip-flop stick into the sidewalk. That kind of heat's no joke, but your home, that ought to be your escape hatch, a cool, calm kingdom where the sun can huff and puff all at once. Our goal's real simple. We want every Texas homeowner to feel like royalty, lounging in a castle that beats the heat without breaking a sweat. Now, how much more engaging is that to read than all of the, frankly, boring copy on some of the other websites I just went over? It still is getting the same message across. This isn't just, artistic language to be artistic. We are using something specifically for this demographic, for the Texas consumer. What we did is blended George Jetson with Ron Swanson in terms of a vibe, and that's how we created all of this copy. Kind of like that Southern charm dad who makes those corny, kind of like, George Jetson like dad jokes. And it really came through, in my opinion, perfectly for this target demo. And like I said, we're still getting through the point. You're going to keep your home cool, but we're using analogies. We're making it feel more tangible to them instead of just saying, you're going to save money, this is how you install insulation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now after this nice copy, we do keep it a little bit more basic. Now, I think these images are a little bit nicer than some of the other ones that we saw, are just the effects. But, we talk about the information. But what do you notice about this information? It's simple, and it's to the point. Because they don't need information overload of, all the how-tos and whys of insulation is important. We do have videos about that, and I'm not saying it's not worth it to give them some of that context, but making it fun and enjoyable for them to understand something that isn't traditionally fun and enjoyable to learn about makes a huge difference. So we go down. After all this, submit your info for free quote, and we'll get back to you within an hour. Professional installation for superior comfort and efficiency. Then we have some of our reviews. Really good to have them come directly from Google instead of being designed. Then we have a nice video that we designed for them. Not going to play that as well. And why we do what we do. Ain't nothing better than being home with your favorite folks, making memories and soaking up the good stuff. Our whole mission, helping you feel downright at home in your home, cozy in the winter, cool in the summer, and comfortable all the time. With our top-notch installation services, you won't have to keep chasing the thermostat around. Just set it and forget it while watching your energy bills simmer down right along with your stress. We say all the same, get across the same message that all the other websites were saying. We're going to save you money. We're going to reduce the heat in your home or make your home feel more comfortable. We want you to feel cozy, but it's doing it in a way as if you were actually just talking to a friend or someone on the street, instead of sounding like, again, like a very informative lawyer contract type brochure. I don't want to say dumb it down by any means, but we make it more of a story. And that is what makes all the difference in converting more customers and making them remember you, especially in a competitive industry like this, where everyone has good reviews, everyone has free quotes. It's usually a game of who has the best price and can get there the fastest. But when you have information like this, people think twice. You're like, wait a second, I remember that company that was a little bit more than price. It was a little bit more than just into my house quickly. They made me feel something, and I want to work with them because of that. So the last thing I'm going to go over is our installation page, which is the main conversion driver, the main landing page that we send people to. What I see happen so often, especially in industries like these, is agencies, marketers, freelancers, whoever it is, they'll build their own landing page because they don't think the website is good enough to convert. And frankly, a lot of times it's not. But what that does is it takes another step away from your brand and makes it all about the price, the offer, how fast you can get there, instead of how awesome your company is and the relatability that you have of being an actual human, someone who actually gets the people that you're talking to instead of just price. So cold snaps or heat waves, your home ought to be a comfort zone. Our insulation helps seal in the cozy and kick out the costly, saving you up to 25% on energy bills. We're still getting that message across, but we're doing it in a much more creative way. Get 30% off your project costs back. I said we're not absent of performance marketing. We're not absent of free quote CTAs and offers like get 30% of your project costs back. Oh, isn't that interesting though? Up to $1,200. I wonder what website had a weird timer on it saying that I'm going to miss out on $1,200 if I don't fill out the form right away. People know that stuff is just marketing and sales, guys. So if you are just more transparent about it and aren't trying to game people, they will respect you so much more. And again, we'll just make the sales process so much more smooth once they get there. We got our review banner. It's very important to build credibility. And then we have this infographic that has always done well for this brand. This is something that we developed initially and then rebranded it when we swapped it over to the website because we know it works so well. Because putting things into a visual of exactly how the attic installation works just makes it so much easier to understand and really gets through their head. As, on some of the other websites, they had long, lengthy paragraphs of this exact thing that we're talking about. Attic insulation reduces the heat in your home, and this is a home that doesn't have attic insulation, how it's a lot hotter in the attic, and then that propels down to the rest of your home, increasing your energy bills, overworking your AC, and all those other things that the other websites were explaining. But when you put it into a nice visual like this, you can take it away so much easier. I mean, I don't think if you were listening to me go through those paragraphs on the other websites, I think your eyes are glazing over because mine definitely were. And I know I'm a little bit biased because this is my specific client's website, but I think it's very hard for anyone to disagree. It's a lot easier to understand the same information when it's in a nice visual as opposed to being just a lengthy paragraph. And so we go down here. Attic insulation is kind of like that unsung hero up in the rafters. You don't see it. You don't think about it much, but it's doing a whole lot of work to keep your home feeling just right. See, heat's always looking for a way in or out, depending on the season. In summer, your attic turns into an oven, no joke. It can hit 130 degrees. Without good insulation, all that heat starts sneaking down into your living space, and your AC is working overtime just to keep you from melting into the couch. So we're still giving all that, great information, but we're turning into analogies. We're making it more of a story. We're tailoring it specifically for a Texas type homeowner. And like I said, our conversion rates have skyrocketed. We're again just making it more enjoyable to read. So instead of them being so obsessed with, let me just give you my information so I don't have to be on this website anymore, they actually want to be on the website. They actually want to read the information. And that is so powerful, not just for your sales team's conversion rates and closing sales at a higher rate, but for people actually remembering the brand and wanting to go with you instead of, again, just the cheapest option, the person who got to them first. Attic insulation is one of the smartest, most cost-effective ways to make your home feel better and run smoother season after season. Insulation services that'll turn your home into a castle and keep you comfy year around. We are still saying the same things. Again, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse here, but you can see how these lines just make you feel so much more warm, make you feel like they actually understand you, not just understand you, but actually care about you, the customer, and not just getting your information so they can talk to a salesperson immediately. They are like, hey, we get insulation, we get you, and even if we're more expensive than one of the other options, you're going to go with us because we were able to relate to you on a deeper level other than just jibber jabbering the same information over and over again, and just trying to get you to convert as quickly as possible. And as you can see, there is no pop-up on this website. Now, we might add a pop-up at some point, but conversion rates are so good currently, I don't see why we ever would. The only thing we might do is there's this chatbot kind of hiding in the right corner. We might add functionality for that to pop up at some point, like once they've been on a certain amount of pages. That's something I always suggest for your chatbots, or just your live chat system. Don't put it in people's face right away. The kind of theme that everything that I'm saying is, let them digest the information first. Because once they have the information, it becomes so much easier to push them down the sales funnel, your sales team, support team, all of those kinds of things. All right, so let me go back to the homepage. So that's pretty much it. I know I spent a pretty long time talking over everything. I thought it was kind of interesting for me. I hope it was interesting for everyone else following along. Again, the biggest thing here is just blending performance with brand, making your home service company more than just having the lowest price and being the first one to get to them. I'm sure if you're in your industry, you know how important it is to get to them as quickly as possible, getting to them within 15 minutes of them contacting you, 30 minutes, an hour. Every minute you wait, it lowers the chance that you're going to close that client. But when you have a website like this, that factor becomes a lot less, and most importantly of all, you actually remember the company that you're submitting your information to. You want to work with them more than everyone else because they just seem more professional. They seem to get you, the customer, more than everyone else. And it's not just a, spammy, what I call car salesman type website where they're just shouting at you, trying to sell you immediately without really taking your needs, or just like even how you want to read information into account. And when you do that correctly, not the car salesman type stuff, but when you do the brand stuff correctly and actually communicate to your customers in a meaningful way, it can literally have life-changing consequences for your business. So if you have any questions, please leave a comment. If you enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe. I want to get more into creating YouTube videos. I'll try to keep some of them shorter than this one unless people really, really like this style. But anyways, I quite frankly loved working on this project, and that's the biggest thing I can tell to anyone. If you want to work with a marketer who doesn't just get it, but who actually loves doing things like this, send me a message and let's talk.